Right, all you music makers, video game players, and entertainers from all around the world. Welcome to the 552nd edition of Music Village. I am your host from the East Coast, DJ Smokey, bringing you the best from the North, South, East, and West that the world of music, games, and wrestling has to offer. And seeing the fact that we've got a jam-packed show to wrap up this year, the fifth for this year, we might as well waste no time and explain to you guys what's going to happen on this very special Hawaiian jam-packed punched edition of Music Village. And yes, call into my show, it has something to do with you currently drinking Hawaiian punch out of that big glass right now. But to get back on track, folks, we kick things off by finding out which one of these 30 men and women is going to be the one to win the big one for the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'm surprised I got it right for once. I keep getting it wrong each year for the location. Next up on the plate, we find out what sort of cool games we can find from a planet far away from here and from the steaming sheet alike for another edition of the Friday Night Greenlight. Next up on the plate, we find out what sort of crazy tune shenanigans we can get ourselves into for a very special Looney Tune jam-packed collaboration beatdown edition of the DJ Smokey's True Videogame Stories. And according to Carl and the Maestro, a lot of pie throwing and hammer hitting on this one. Nice! Also, besides that, we find out what you independent artists got planned for this weekend for another edition of the Indy for the weekend, which is me giving you guys local concert information from local artists performing in local area live near you. Then finally, last but certainly not least, and hopefully before the rain returns, we wrap up this show yet another edition of the Up to Speed News, which is me giving you guys news stories from this week from, you guessed it, all around the world. I guess with that said, I might as well tell Carl and the Maestro to kick up the beats, crank out the tunes, and most importantly, crank up the heat just a little bit and don't throw out that calendar just yet because we've got some good use for it. Because it's time for us to bring some fun and delight on your Friday afternoon/night. Only here, right here on Music Village. So let's get this afternoon show started, folks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Music Village. And Carl and Maestro said they got some form of surprise waiting for us by the end of the show, which got me a little worried, but at the same time, it is what it is. This show's always full of surprises. But besides that bit of a surprise, folks, I think it's time for us to talk about what we think is going to happen for the first pay-per-view of this year, only known as the Royal Rumble, which is going to be taking place in the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, and would be the 38th annual version of the Royal Rumble match, and the first one of its kind to take place outside of the month of January, which threw us all through a loop. And the first match we think is going to take place at this said pay-per-view is going to be the Women's Royal Rumble match, which sees 30 women entering into this contest with 2 starting this contest, and the only way to be eliminated is with both feet touching the floor. Last woman standing goes and punch their ticket straight to Vegas on the grandest stage of them all, of WrestleMania. And with that being said and the rules being explained in the best way we know how, who do I think is going to win this match? It is a star-studded field of people who are going to be a part of the Royal Rumble, folks. Thus far announced is not only Nia Jax, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Laya Valkyria, Ivy Nile, and even Io Sky. And I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of surprises with this Rumble, and we may even see Jordan Grace once again gracing us with her presence at this said Royal Rumble event. But with all that being said, who do I think is going to win this match? I'm giving it to Charlotte Flair. And the reason why, folks, is because it's been well over a year since the last time she's held the belt, been at a WrestleMania, or been involved with anything wrestling-wise. So I think it's about time for the Queen to get her crown back. And what better way than winning the Royal Rumble and becoming the first woman to ever win it twice? But if not her, Bayley could make history too and become the first woman to win it back-to-back. Either way you look at it, folks, I got a big feeling that a horsewoman is going to make history at WrestleMania and at the Royal Rumble. Who knows? Who knows? And the next match to take place on this set card is going to see none other than Cody Rhodes going one-on-one against the Frankenstein monster himself, Kevin Owens, for the Undisputed Championship. And the only reason this match is actually happening is because of Kevin Owens. Because Kevin Owens, after losing the match, after getting hit with a crossroads on a steel chair and the referee not seeing what went on, after he would knock out a referee by an accident, he would decide to take matters into his own hands by playing a spoiled sport or a sore loser by making Cody Rhodes' neck sore with a package pile driver that I haven't seen since his PWG days. But either way you look at it, folks, this would lead to Cody Rhodes wanting revenge and Kevin Owens making it happen, if only if it was this type of match here in the form of a ladder match. Made famous by the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and the late great Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10. Now, with this match being a ladder match and seeing the fact that Kevin Owens has the worst amount of luck with ladders, chairs, tables, or any form of objects outside the ring, and if you don't believe me, check out a couple of his matches where he went through ladder pyramid after chair pyramid after table pyramid, and just anything that represents Egypt form of violence, he's been through. So, with all that being said, who do I think is going to win this match? Cody Rhodes. Now, the reason why, folks, no, I don't think, Sami Zayn is going to somehow interfere in this match on behalf of his best friend, Kevin Owens. I think a certain Viper may come back tonight to get revenge on Kevin Owens and might RKO him off the top of a ladder. These are things that could definitely happen during this match. And I got a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen to let Cody Rhodes make his way on to the road to WrestleMania. Or roads to WrestleMania. We tried to insert a joke there. I know, it was bad. It was bad. And the next match to take place on this said pay-per-view would see none other than DIY of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa going one-on-one against the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. One sec. Hail Sabin! Who's gonna be fighting for the WWE Tag Team Championships. And on a complete side note, I would never in my wildest dreams would imagine mentioning Chris Sabin in a WWE ring. Now, the only reason this match is taking place is because DIY, who decided to do whatever it takes to get the Tag Team Championships back, after getting screwed by the bloodline, would decide to take a shortcut or two to get the titles in their hands, and at the same time would try to get the help of Pretty Deadly to help them along the way too, for that to fail and for the Motor City Machine Guns to still come up guns a-blazing, looking to get back those tag team championships they got on their second match in the company. And with all that being said, folks, who do I think is going to win this match? It's a tough draw here, folks, but I got a feeling, and especially seeing their experience in 2 out of 3 Falls matches, that I give it to DIY to win this match, hook or by crook, in some miraculous and outrageous way that's going to take place during this set contest. And I got a feeling it's going to involve a low blow or a chair shot from behind, whatever it may be. That's why I think it's going to happen. Yeah, Colin the Maestro agrees with me over in the corner. And the next match to take place during this said pay-per-view is going to be the main event of the evening. And the 38th one of its kind, folks, none other than the Royal Rumble match. For the winner to get a world title match at the grandest stage of them all of WrestleMania 41 in Viva Las Vegas. And with the people that are involved with this match, if you had told me who do I think was going to win this match, I have no idea. Look at the field, man. Look at the field. You got LA Knight. You got John Cena, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns trying to go back for his championship. Seth Rollins looking to get back to the top of the mountain. The Scottish Terminator Drew McIntyre looking to take out Roman Reigns and to win the Royal Rumble along the way. Oh yeah, not to mention CM Punk. Rey Mysterio looking to run it back from well over 19 years ago when he last won it. Sami Zayn looking to capture that world of opportunity that Cross was talking about. Shinsuke Nakamura looking to add more gold in his trophy case and become a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. Logan Paul to, traject himself directly to the top of the mountain and go directly to WrestleMania to fight against Gunther or Cody. Penta looking to make history by becoming a Royal Rumble winner in his rookie year. Rookie year meaning that it's first year being here, not a rookie by any means. Chad Gable looking to redeem himself from last year. Braun Breaker looking to break some senior citizens, as he would call it. And Carmelo Hayes to try to prove that he really is him. So with all of these names listed, plus some cool surprises that I think is going to take place during this, who do I think is going to win this match? I got a top 5 list of people who could possibly win and change the landscape of this company by leaps and bounds, I'll say. First off, because I'm a fan, CM Punk. Now, if CM Punk wins, he'll make up for when he was number 1 in the Royal Rumble and what happened last year with his tricep being hurt, and could go on to finally live his dream to live in the main event air of WrestleMania to shut up the critics. John Cena could possibly win and finally get one last world title on one last run of the Royal Rumble. And not to mention, I do believe would be the 3rd time, I could be wrong with this, folks, would be the 3rd time he would win the Royal Rumble match, if he does it. But then you also have Roman Reigns looking to rebuild the island of relevancy. That's another man who I think could possibly win it. Seth Rollins can finally go back to get the world title that he lost and hopefully not be in the curtain jerker match for it. And then finally, the last person who I think is going to win, as much as I would want to say Drew McIntyre, but I could see Sami Zayn finally going up to the main event spot that he always deserved and believed in to fight for the world title. Will it be against his best friend? We'll find out in due time. But it all depends on how that match of the latter variety goes and if KO goes into the Rumble to take out Sami. But who knows? Anything could possibly happen on that stage of the Royal Rumble, but man, is it gonna be exciting. So like we say at the end of all of these pay-per-view reviews, folks, to all the competitors, good luck, don't get hurt, and put on one hell of a show that none of us will ever, and I do mean ever, forget. Because with the surprises of the Rumble, I got a feeling they last longer than a WrestleMania moment in some cases. And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to that music once again. And when we return, we'll be back with more Music Village you can shake a stick at right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and especially you indie game lovers out there, welcome back to Music Village. Now, Carl and the Maestro told me when in the world the results for the Royal Rumble will take place this week. Well, the answer's simple. It will take place a part of the Indy Radio Arcade that will take place on Groundhog's Day for Music Village Radio. See, I would have had it for Under the Radar, but according to Carl and the Maestro, they got something bigger planned for that. Okay, I can't wait to see it. But besides Carl and the Maestro's big plans they decided to keep in secret, I think it's time for us to bring some games from a planet far away from here and the Steam Machine alike into your homes for a very special month-ending edition of the Friday Night Greenlight. And the first game that we have up comes from the itch.io page of Rihanna UWU with their set game of Loose. Or is it Lucy? Apparently, according to Carl and my show, either or. Alright? And this game automatically reminds me of Little Nightmares. Yep, really reminds me of Little Nightmares. And here's hoping in the near future for this set game that you can get something to avoid that giant oversized eyeball that's trying to get you. And according to Carl and the Maestro, they're asking me what sort of harm can an eyeball do to you, and you'd be surprised. You never played Mario 64 or any of the Doom games. Eyeballs can do a lot of damage. So here's hoping you can avoid it. But besides trying to avoid an all-seeing eye that can most likely take you out in seconds, the next game that we have up comes from the itch.io page of Digital God Tower. Nice name, by the way, with their set game of Maka's World. And this game automatically reminds me of, I would have to say Bomberman if it was in 2D on a stage that reminds me a little bit of Super Mario. Now, here's hoping in the near future for this set game, not only you get a chance to use your different forms of powers to avoid whatever sort of creepy smiley face things coming after you, but maybe, just maybe, a chance for you to get a chance to actually get more bombs to help you get through the stage. Because I do believe you're only limited to 4, according to Carl and the Maestro, and with all the money you find on the stage, you could probably find some more. Or be able to buy some more from a merchant that may or may not be a mole. And Carl and the Maestro said, why would he be a mole? Well, they're in the underground. What else would it be? They're saying it might be a turkey. Okay, well, if it's a turkey, hopefully you can gobble up some coins to help you out with this. But with that horrible turkey joke out of the way, folks, the next game that we have up comes from the itch.io page of, or the developers, FNNBRR with their set game of Health Insurance Claim Denier. And this game automatically reminds me of, and Carl and the Michael said, watch it before you say it. I was going to say it reminds me of the movie Saw 5, I think it was. It's either 5 or 6, whichever one that involved one with the guy who had the policy insurance thing going on before he ended up turning into liquid soup by the end of the film. You know, a little spoiler for those who haven't seen it yet. And And here's hoping in the near future, if you're the one actually denying the claims, that they don't come after you and leave you in some form of wicked trap like in the movie Saw. And Carl and Maestro said, nice recovery. I know. But besides something that I could have taken way out of the fields of this show, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Lemon Pole and Lanyon Durige with their said game of Hidden Arcade Hundreds of Ghosts. And this game automatically reminds me of Where's Waldo? Yep, definitely reminds me of Where's Waldo. And here's hoping in the near future for this said game with the hundreds of ghosts that are loose in this said museum or arcade. It looks more like a museum than an arcade. That you get a chance to see the ghosts come to life and bring to life a couple of the statues. Cause I got a feeling the one that looks like it's about to scratch his nose might sneeze if it's possessed by one of the ghosts. Who knows? Who knows? But besides ghosts trying to possess statues like the Patrick Swayze classic film, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Andrew Way, Annie Zhang, and Brandon Wang, as well as Calix Wellfield, ING, Nicholas Thomas, Ramir Minodia, and Sophia, as well as Yume and Gun Jumpers with their said game of Spare. Yeah, we didn't spare any of the names of the people who made this game either. And this game automatically reminds me of Gutter Ball if it took place from a top angle in 2D. Now, here's hoping in the near future for this set game that not only you get a chance to play it alongside with your friends, but maybe, just maybe, a chance to have your own custom ball to help you get a strike or not get a strike, according to Carl and the Maestro. And apparently, according to Carl and the Maestro, yeah, you have to get a strike in this game. I thought they were trying to avoid the pins because that girl moved out of the way of that 7-10 split real easily and got a gutter ball for it. So I thought that's what she was trying to go for. But besides Carl and the Maestro saying I don't know the concept of bowling, which I beg to differ, sir, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Lonely Bro with their said game of Lonely Tiny Spaceship. And this game automatically reminds me of a mixture between Asteroids with a little hint of the classic Windows 95 screensaver game that involved you flying a spaceship getting power-ups. Never remembered the name of that game, but it was always fun to play. That and to watch the toasters that would fly by afterwards. Yeah, I always used to watch screensavers for fun as a kid. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. But nevertheless, folks, here's hoping for the near future for this game. Not only you get a chance to own a railgun to take out a multitude of different people that are going to come after you in it, but maybe, just maybe, a chance for you to upgrade your tiny, lonely spaceship into something a little bit bigger to handle a couple of these said things that are going to try to take you out. And according to Carl and the Maestro, flip to page 3, and wow, that's a pretty big ship. Well, here's hoping you could have some missiles on it too, because I know those are shockwave blasts, but you might need some missiles to get the job done too. I think. Or I hope. And the last but certainly not least game that we have up for this week and for this month comes from the developers Re-Oblivion Games with their said game of Sally's House. And this game automatically reminds me of Emily Wants to Play 1 or 2. Doesn't matter which one, it automatically reminds me of it. And here's hoping in the near future that they give you a stick, a rock, something to take out whatever sort of Markland beast that may be lurking inside of this house, because you know somebody's in here. And Carl and the Maestro flipped to the 4th page and it nearly scared the bejesus out of me because it showed the guy who looked like Moby answering the front door. Okay, and yeah, I got a feeling he's not friendly, so here's hoping for that rock I mentioned earlier. if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other cool games that are still coming in from a planet far away from here, yet close enough to be beamed into your homes in less than 24 hours, then you can go ahead and head on over to the Free Game Planet page of one man only known as freegameplanet.com and check out a whole bunch of cool, weird, awesome, strange, and frightening games that are just out of this world. You also want to go ahead and check out any other cool games that are a part of the Steam machine that are still coming through via the cargo ship, cargo plane, or even subterranean train that is currently rubbing underneath your toes, then you can head on over to the store.steampower page, only known as store.steampower.com, and click ever so lightly on that upcoming button while clicking on that Indy button to match it up to check out a whole bunch of cool games that I got a feeling might lead to a 12-round knockout where apparently Carl and the Maestro didn't hear no bell. You sure? It was ringing like your ears, but yeah, you heard a bell. You know you did. And I got a feeling they'll be ringing it for the cool games, too. And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to music once again, and when we return, we'll be back with yet another new DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories right after this. So don't wear your horns out in traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, all you video gamers, welcome to yet another Looney Tunes mashup beatdown edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And with a title like that, we decided to go with the game none other than MultiVerses. I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to go ahead and grab that WB logo amongst some other things to try to find to hit our opponents with in the most cartoonish ways known possible as we get ready to paint the picture. All right. This video game story began approximately 7 long months ago when I first decided to pick up this game after they announced it was coming out the following month. And I was excited for this game for a multitude of reasons, not only because it had a litany list of characters involved during it, but one of the main ones I was extremely excited for would be none other than the Doctor of Delight himself, Bugs Bunny. And the fact that the moveset that Bugs Bunny would have in this game would not only involve an Acme-sized safe, a giant oversized mallet, a pie to the face, a baseball bat, and even more mallet-like action was right up my alley. And the first thing I would do to truly test out Bugs Bunny and his wascally wabbit skills was try to make my way into one of the rifts that would be available for this game, involving, of all people, Jason Voorhees. And when I made my way to fighting one of the characters that I still can't believe was a part of this game, a Batman, I would decide to really take it to Batman by not only throwing a pie in his face, kicking him in the rear, sending him flying into the air, and then immediately jumping into the air, saying, "That's all, folks!" Wham! And hitting him upside the head with a giant oversized cartoon mallet to send him traveling right down the side of the stage and heading right into the abyss. And before I forget, folks, the stage I would end up fighting Batman on, of all places, would be in Finn and Jake's house, which is insane. And after hearing that I got this game, immediately Alex wanted to give this game a try as well. And luckily for him, he would be able to get his hands on, of all people, Jason Voorhees, who would be featured for this game, to try to test him out. And I would say, how in the world of all people to fit in this game, how is Jason gonna work out in this universe? And I would find out very quickly how well he would work, because when playing with him online alongside with Alex, whatever character that would step in our way, whether it been the Joker, Wonder Woman, Batman, or even Finn himself, or even Velma, they would all face the wrath of 3 attacks that were the most dangerous in the repertoire of Jason Voorhees. Not only the bed smash attack, the sleeping bag attack, but probably one of my favorite attacks to see and try to combine with my crazy wacky mallet skills would be the giant oversized machete that he would use that would do a big amount of damage to send people flying. And when he got sent flying, anybody in the pathway of Jason, I would decide to play cleanup once again with my lovable mallet and whack them upside the head, send them flying into the ground, and immediately celebrate with the carrot in my mouth, where I wish I could have said at the time, what's up, Doc? Not you. But when it came down to facing off against 2 characters online who decided to pick, of all people, Finn and LeBron James, who was also featured in this game, and when they tried to test their luck against the might of Jason Voorhees and me, well, let's just say one got knocked into the earth and the other one got hit up into the air with that giant oversized mattress of Jason, for me to make things worse by summoning that giant oversized Acme-sized safe on the top of their head for them to fly outward, for the game to be over, and for us to only lose 1 life thanks to LeBron James doing a slam dunk to me of all people, but for me to get my revenge with a pie and a swift kick in the bottom, proving that nobody, and I mean nobody, can get one over on Bugs Bunny, especially if I'm playing as him. I'll tell you that much. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for a very special Looney Tune mashup beatdown collaboration edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And with that, we'll be back with more right after this. So stay tuned. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Music Village. And yeah, about that video game story, for those wondering why it was so short, yeah, there was more characters involved for it, including not only Tom and Jerry, the Iron Giant, and I do believe the Powerpuff Girls included in it as well too, that will all have their own separate video game stories in the future for them. Especially for Tom and Jerry during the month of Fools, because I'm pretty sure I got Jerry killed more than often while trying to use him. Still a fun character, but I don't know. But besides that video game story of cartoon hijinks to look forward to in the near future, I think it's time for us to go into one of my favorite parts of the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the Indy for the weekend, which is me giving you guys local concert information from local artists, performing locally live near you. And we kick things off with Friday, January 31st, and the first band that we have up is Stu Hooten, who's going to be performing at the Simply Greek Restaurant and Bar in Long Branch, New Jersey at 6 p.m. Russell Norkovic is going to be performing at the Lambertville House in Lambertville, New Jersey at 6 p.m. And McCoy is going to be performing at the Rooney's Oceanfront Restaurant in Long Branch, New Jersey at 6:30 p.m. Extra Rich in Class is going to be performing at the Par 440 Restaurant and Lounge in Millburn, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Mike Garanja with the Coots is both going to be performing at the MCQ's Pub at the Lenape in Newton, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Gerald Espedito is going to be performing at the Villa Vittoria Ristorante in Brick, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Andy Lackow and the Mess Arounds. It's been a while since we mentioned him. Who's going to be performing at the Montclair Brewery in Montclair, New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. The Flippin' Mickeys is going to be performing at the Borlo Hotel and Restaurant in Wildwood, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And apparently, according to Colin the Maestro, it's the Bolero Hotel and Resort. See, this is why you shouldn't mix up the cue cards. But besides that ballpark error, thanks to miscue, the next band that we have up is Chuck Schubert and Company, who's going to be performing at the Tipton's Tavern in Phillipsburg, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Friday night, you can see Dave Fields, who's going to be performing at the Mr. P's in Highland Park, New Jersey at 9 p.m. And on Saturday, February 1st, you can see these following bands performing in a local area near you live. Jess Jeff is going to be performing at the Terhune Orchards in Princeton, New Jersey at 1 p.m. Chris Pinella is going to be performing at the Algonquin Arts Theater in Massaquan, New Jersey at 2 p.m. Kate and Paul is going to be performing at the Redwoods Bar and Grill in Chester, New Jersey at 7 p.m. The Mark Stinger Band is going to be performing at the Barganet American Legion Post 232 in Barganet Township, New Jersey at 7 p.m. TK and the Howlers is going to be performing at the Bourbon and Brews in Paulsboro, New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. Andy Lackow and the Mess Arounds is all going to be performing at the Shillelagh Club in West Orange, New Jersey at 8 p.m. Stu Hooten is going to be performing at the Portside Bar in Middletown, New Jersey at 8 p.m. Pam McCoy is going to be performing at the MJ's Restaurant Bar and Grill in Neptune Township, New Jersey at 8 p.m. Damien and the DCQ Plus is all going to be performing at the 3BR Distillery in Keyport, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Saturday night, you can see Honest Abe, who's going to be performing at the Mississippi V in Pennsgrove, New Jersey at 9 p.m. And on Sunday, February 2nd, aka Groundhog's Day, you can see these following bands performing in a local area near you live. Gospel Sunday Brunch with Jim Sloan and Friends is going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas at 11:30 p.m. or 11:30 a.m. according to Colin the Maestro, with breakfast at 7. Not bad. Next up on the plate, we've got Mark and Coda, who's both going to be performing at the Monterey Court Studio Galleries and Cafe in Tucson, Arizona at 10 a.m. The Little Merman, nice band names, is going to be performing at the Emerald Theater in Mamaroneck, New York at 11 a.m. Paula Ulrich is going to be performing at the Old Town Community Theater in Temecula, California at 2 p.m. Never heard of that place. Anyway, next up, folks, you have none other than Mike McCagg and others who's going to be performing at the Bistro in Hayward, California. At 4 p.m., Thomas Fisk is going to be performing at the Shrine World Music Venue in New York, New York. At 7 p.m., Andrew Blayton is going to be performing at the Pody's Roadhouse in Spicewood, Texas. At 7 p.m., Peggy Rattus with Lazy Birds is both going to be performing at the White Horse Black Mountain in Black Mountain, North Carolina. At 7:30 p.m., Steve Goody is going to be performing at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. At 8 p.m., you can also see Chris Springer Music, who's going to be performing at the Square Grouper Tiki Bar in Juniper, Florida. At 7 p.m., and to finally wrap things up for Sunday night, you can see Texas Rex, nice band name, who's going to be performing at the Adair Saloon in Dallas, Texas at 9 p.m. And on Monday, February 3rd, you can see these following bands performing in a local area live near you. Hector Guzman is going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas. At 12 p.m., Crystal King, nice band name, is going to be performing at the Listening Room in Nashville, Tennessee. At 1 p.m., the Chrome Wheels Band is going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas. At 3 p.m., Magic Monday Gaming Night is going to be performing at the NCOM Cyber Hall in Norman, Oklahoma. At 4 p.m., The Do-Over is going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas. At 6 p.m., Sky Covington Live is going to be performing at the Aretha's Jazz Cafe in Detroit, Michigan. At 6 p.m., Zach Johnson is going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas. At 7 p.m., Open Mic Monday is going to be performing at the Mr. Peabody's in Encinitas, California. At 8:30 p.m., Vampire Rodeo, nice band name, is going to be performing at the HQ in Denver, Colorado. At 7 p.m., and to finally wrap things up for Monday night and for all the bands we're going to mention for this week, you could see Hip Swears, nice band names, who's going to be performing at the Vincent's in Worcester, Massachusetts at 8 p.m. You guys want to go ahead and check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast, and trust me folks, there were a lot of them. You can head on over to ReverbNation.com to check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast. And while you're over there, folks, check out a couple of their cool tunes. Trust me, they're worth the listen. Like we say at the end of all of these skits, go out there, support your local artists, and see these guys perform live. And trust me, they'll love you for it. And I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back into that music and continue to listen into these Diamonds to the Rough, only here, right here, on Music Village. So don't get lost in that evening traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. And we're back with the show with the special announcement that Carl and Maestro said they had planned for me, only known as Music Village. And apparently the special announcement is a reminder that 1, the Indy Awards is in less than 4 weeks, and 2, we forgot to mention the tracks of the month and the tracks of the year to be selected for the Indy Awards for this year. Oh crap. Oh, now you tell me right now. You could have told me that during the break after the intro, but you waited until the end. We might have to do something about that. When? I know not. I know not. As I'm sitting here plotting. Well, besides me plotting right now, folks, to try to make up for award nominees to be mentioned before the next 3 weeks, I'm looking at my watch right now. Oh, it's just about that time. It's the witching hour, which means it's time to be brought up to speed with news stories from this week from, you guessed it, all around the world. And in our, hold it, and in our first news story, and in big news for you Sum 41 fans out there, it looks like, yeah, the end is just about here, because this past week would mark the final tour for Sum 41, and they would wrap things up in Canada with not only doing a cool tribute to not only Slayer with Raining Blood, Metallica with Master of Puppets, and would even do a said song of Fat Lip and Still Waiting. Songs that I always remembered from classic snowboarding, bike riding, and especially MXC type games. Or MC, or motocross. I should have just said motocross instead of trying to sound cool. But either way you look at it, folks, the fact that this band has been around for well over nearly 30 years with well over 29 songs that they would perform in Toronto is pretty awesome. And to make things even better, folks, despite the sad news that they're no longer going to be on tour, you would get a chance to see them get inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame this year as well, too. That will take place as of March 30th. Bad. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the cool musical set that was featured for that Toronto final sundown of a performance, then you can go ahead and head on over to the Consequence page of one man only known as consequence.net to check it out for yourselves. And in other news and more or less Fire Aid concert news, for you fans out there who didn't get a chance to see it this past week, it looks like a whole bunch of musicians from now and yesteryear would all get together for a very special concert for the people over in California called Fire Aid. And it would have several different who's names a part of it, including Billie Eilish, Earth, Wind and Fire, Grace Adams, Jelly Roll, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Little Baby, Olivia Rodrigo, Peso Paloma, Rod Stewart, Nice, Sting, Stevie Wonder, Tate McRae, Alanis Morissette, Green Day, and most importantly, seeing not only the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pink, and no doubt getting back together to perform on stage for this performance. But the one person we really wanted to mention, because she literally sang her heart out, or tried to, during her set performance, would be none other than Pink. Not only doing a cover of, and apparently according to Carl and the Maestro, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, but also performing several classic songs during her set list that literally almost took her voice away. And yeah, not bad. Not bad at all, and a very tear-jerking performance by all the people performing at that said performance during Fire Aid, which tells you the emotion they have of people losing just about everything in those wildfires this past year. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out Pink's heart-wrenching performance on stage, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as Barry King to check it out for yourselves. And in other news, and more or less news from the said Royal Rumble, for you fans out there wondering who would be the first person inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame heading to the road to WrestleMania, well, it would be none other than the former 14-time, and I do believe I might be wrong, might be 15-time World Heavyweight Champion himself, the Cerebral Assassin himself, Triple H. And with Lillian Garcia back, she can do a hell of a lot better than I can. But Triple H, for those who don't know him, besides being a man in a suit, bringing you quality entertainment week in, week out, this man has to be one of the most hated wrestlers on the planet back in the Attitude Era, not only taking people out with sledgehammers, helping Rikishi take out Stone Cold Steve Austin, and not only that, being a part of probably one of the biggest rebel-rousing groups of all time, known as D-Generation X. And is the only person in the history of Undertaker's undefeated streak to go up against a man on 3 separate occasions. Not only at WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania 27, just about 10 years later, and then the year after that at WrestleMania 28, which we will talk about in the near future. So yeah, definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer with his in-ring career that unfortunately got cut short before we got a chance to see him get in the ring with someone else outside of Batista, which I got a feeling if he could go, I would love to see him go up against Kevin Owens, especially after the disrespect he pulled and taking out Randy Orton. Got a feeling it might be time to play the game again, if he's able to. That's if he's able to. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the surprise that was sprung on Triple H by the Heartbreak Kid and The Undertaker for his Hall of Fame announcement, then you can go ahead and head on over to the website only known as WWE.com to check it out for yourselves. And as a little bit of a heads up, just let you know, R-Truth on Twitter would say, yeah, congratulations to Triple H and his Hall of Fame announcement, and would have a picture of Tommaso Ciampa. So, yeah, don't go and change it, R-Truth. Don't go and change it. And in more news from the world of WWE, outside of them doing a play-by-play call or a WWE playback for the men's and women's Royal Rumble, we would get news of a brand new show coming out to ESPN Plus, only known as Stephanie's Places. Not only hanging out with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and of course, other people to be listed in the near dear future. And man, oh man, I can't wait to see the episode where she's in a helicopter flying with Charlotte, riding an ATV with Stone Cold Steve Austin, or a dune buggy according to Carl and the Maestro, or even on that giant oversized bra yacht with Roman Reigns. And all the members of the bloodline on there too, which is insane to see. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the first look of Stephanie's Places, the show, folks, the show will get your mind out of the gutter, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as WWE to check it out for yourselves. And I guess with all those regular news stories out of the way for this week, folks, you guys at home know what time it is. No, Carl and the Maestro, it's not time for us to go grab another glass of water, but I got a feeling we may need one after this one, because it's time for us to go into a very special month-ending edition of... And step back for this one, because I'm going to need the room for it. Video I told you I'm gonna need the room for it. That's why I told you back up. And in our first news story, and in Royal Rumble simulation news, from not only Dead Meat James, but also from the big boys and girls from New Legacy Inc. Because if you guys wanted to find out who was going to win the Royal Rumble for this year, and you couldn't make a possible choice like I could, well, New Legacy Inc. would be here to help you out, because they would decide to do a simulation of this year's Royal Rumble, with a lot of twists and turns and some crazy moments that can only happen in an NL version of a Royal Rumble. Kind of wish they really did have the Royal Rumble-thon this year, but there's always next year, and I got a feeling it's going to be crazy too. And on the other side of the coin, for those who want another sort of different Royal Rumble feel from the world of horror, for the third year in a row, they would decide to have the Dead Meat Horror Royal Rumble, which will feature not only the clown featured during the Terrifier series, but a litany list of other top contenders to try to go for the crown of the winner of the Horror Royal Rumble, which I will try to watch live, but I got a feeling with the Rumble right around the corner, we'll figure something out, and we'll let you guys know who won it within the next week so we don't spoil it for you. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the Horror Royal Rumble live, or even the Rumble from New Legacy Inc., then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube pages of one man and several big boys and girls, only known as New Legacy Inc., to watch the actual Royal Rumble and the Horror Royal Rumble on the website of Dead Meat. So head on over there, because it will take place as of February 1st of 2025. All right, on Dr. Seuss Day, according to Colin the Maestro. Oh, I almost forgot about that holiday. And in other video game news, and to clear the air like an ionic breeze quadra news, for you Division fans thinking that the said New York DLC or the new DLC that's going to take place is going to take place as of next year, well, I have some good news. Because as of a live stream that they were able to have this past week, they would announce that the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn DLC will take place as of this year. And I, for one, am excited for it, but at the same time, I don't know. Unless they finally give us the chance to operate those giant robo-dogs from the Black Tusk, I don't know what sort of excitement I'm really going to have for it. But I can't wait to see what happens, even though I will be waiting patiently with bated breath. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the patch notes for all the things that will be added as of the next upcoming season for Year 6, then you can go ahead and head on over to the Twitter page of one man only known as The Division Game to check it out for yourselves. And in other video game news, and something we should have led with according to Carl and the Maestro, for the PS Plus games for the month of greatness, they are as follows. Not only will you get a chance to play High on Life, Pac-Man World Repacked, and finally, last but not least, but the game that a lot of people are a little bit iffy about, Payday 3. Now, I will say I was really hoping for this game to go free, and yes, I was hoping for this game and Arkham Knight so I could see what all the hubbub's all about, and I'm gonna get a chance to at least see Payday 3 make it to the free games for next month for the 28 Days of Greatness. Now, granted, I might be a little bit busy on the microphone getting prepared for the Indy Awards this year, but we will try to get our hands on Payday 3 to see if the shotguns in that game really are one of the best weapons to own, and if they have the alternative ammo like they did in the second Payday game. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out all of these cool games that will be available for this month, with a possibility of Arkham Knights being available by March, then you can go ahead and check it out on the YouTube page of one man only known as PlayStation Grenade to check it out for yourselves. And as a bit of a heads up, these games will be available as of February 4th of 2025. Which means you have till the 3rd to download or add to your library the previous games from the month prior. That's if you want to. Say it. And in other video game news, and in Grand Theft Auto Online news, for you fans out there thinking you missed the Lunar New Year celebration for this year, well, it looks like it's still going on strong with you getting a chance to not only get the Black Snake outfit, the Red Serpent leather jacket, the Snake Soul pendant, the Snake King pendant, the Snake Soul cap, as well as the Gray Snake King cap, still available along with a whole bunch of cool fireworks and celebrations to be had, as well as the Maibatsu Panamera livery for that said vehicle that's still available, and as well as the Gold Snake Santo Capra outfit that you will get if you're able to get all of the said collectibles that are still on the map until the 12th. And to get the things that are available this week that's new to the dance, for you car meet fans looking for a little rep under your steps, well, you get triple the amount of rep for the car meet reputation for the LS car meet for this week. And alongside with that, double the amount of money for auto shop client jobs, which means for certain cars you may get 6 figures to almost $250,000. And alongside with that, double the amount of money for stunt races. And Drop Zone Adversary Mode is double the amount of money for this week as well too. And for you dispatch work fans out there, if you're able to help out him, well, not only you get black squared shades, but also 6 figures to go along with it as well too. Nice! And for the cars that are currently available on sale, but according to Carl and the Maestro, we might as well mention the cars on the wheel. And yeah, the car that is currently on the wheel thus far, folks, is none other than the Gallivanter Baller STD. That's really the name of the car? Apparently, according to Carl and Maestro, yes it is, which you can win on the wheel for this week. And for those out there who placed in the top 5 for the next 4 days, you got a chance to go home with the Fitzer Comet SR. Not bad, not bad. And on the deal part of this said programming, you would see not only this week 30% off on auto shop properties and their upgrades and modifications, but for the ProtoGen GP1 Super, 30% off. The Fitzer 811, 30% off. The Dinka Jester, the Karen Hot Ring Evron, the Vapid Dominator ASP, the Obey Tailgater S, the Volker Warner HKR, the Ennis Remus, and the Joe Bill Veldum 5-seater plane, all 30% off for this week. That's a steal. I'm telling you, that's a steal. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other cool deals that are still coming through the world of Rockstar via their Newswire site, then you can go ahead and head on over to the socialclub.rockstargames page, only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com, under the Newswire section to check out all of those cool deals and more for yourselves. And I guess with all those news stories out of the way for this week, folks, and for this month, you have all officially been brought up. And give me a sec. I'm going to try to get down with the beat. 1 sec. Okay. I got it. Still got the rhythm, even though we're already through the first month of the year. Still got the rhythm. Nice. but you've been brought up to speed. I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back into that music one more time. And when we return, we'll be back with the final segment for Music Village for this week, right after this. So don't get lost in that afternoon or evening traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Alright, all you graveyard shift racers that we caught by surprise for tonight, welcome back to Music Village. Now, I know a couple of you out there are wondering, wait, what? Welcome back to Music Village and you're talking about graveyard shift racers? What's going on? Well, thanks to Carl and the Maestro bringing up to my attention that we are less than 4 weeks away from the Indy Awards, and we have yet to pick all of the beautiful tracks that we could possibly pick for this year to fist for this year. And with the fact that we're not going to try to pull double duty for a show in the middle of the night to wear our vocal cords out for this weekend of activities, we decided, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to finally mention some tracks a part of this show of Music Village. I mean, the last time we did it was a long time ago, and I think it's time for us to wrap up this month on a high note. So without any further ado, folks, I think it's time for us to get ready to rev our engines and find out which one of these 7, yes, I said 7 tracks is going to represent the year of the fist in the Indy Awards for this year, as we go into a very special Music Village edition of a GTA Online Top 7 Tracks of the Month. And the first track that we have up comes from none other than D-Dane with their said track of the 5150 Vice City 500. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this track, folks, not only because of the hot ring saber cars that are featured during it and the nostalgia that I feel from this said track, reminding me of the said Heyman Arena, but also due to the cool colors that was featured during it as well, too. Now, the only tip of advice I have for you race fans out there is to take it easy on those corner turns during this said square oval that's featured for this said race. Because if you don't, I got a feeling you're gonna slam into the wall hard, which will cost you during this said race. So yeah, take it easy on the corner, or get a car with great handling, or bring your own to the dance, and hopefully it gets you that checkered flag. We hope. And the next track that we have up that made it to this elite list for this month comes from none other than IG Stunner with their said track of the 19-mile Super Race. And the reason why in the world we decided to include this well over 30.63 kilometer race, well, not only because you get a chance to use every car across the board with the exception of those weaponized vehicles you know and love so much, but also because of the different forms of mayhem and carnage you're going to experience during those 19 miles you're going to experience during this said race. Now, the only tip of advice I have for you race fans out there for this said track, make sure you pick the right car for the job, because you're going to be there for a long, and I mean long time during this said race with several different surprises to be had during it. So yeah, make sure you pick your best car for the job. And good luck. And the next track that we have up comes from none other than Kamaji with their said track of the Random Stunt Race 1. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this track, folks, well, seeing the fact that this track comes with wall rides, jumps, and random cars that will be featured for it, definitely an ace winner of a track in my book to be featured for this said month. And the only tip of advice I have for you race fans out there with a litany list of cars to choose from to start off from the said starting grid, make sure you pick the best car for the job to start things off, because I got a feeling it's going to be one hell of a finish no matter what car you end up with. And the next car, or next track, thank you for the correction, Carl, into my show, comes from none other than Tremarty68 with their said track of the T68 Trenchway Random All. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this track, folks, well, besides the fact of all the random cars that are featured during this race and the litany list you can pick from to kick it off, the fact that he added a little dose of insanity into it as well, including a said crosstown figure 8 in the center for this said track, which I got a feeling if you're not careful, you may go home eating a that will take you out during this said race. So as a bit of a heads up, make sure you pick the right car for the job and watch out for crosstown traffic, because if you don't, let's just say there's a high possibility of you getting smashed right in the center of that figure 8 that will cost you during this race. And for anybody in the lead, watch out for crosstown traffic, because you know it's coming. You know it's coming. And the next track that we have up comes from none other than Mr. McHenry, nice name by the way, with their said track of the Schizodrome. Now there's 4 reasons why in the world we decided to pick this track. Not only because it does look like a track that was made by some form of psychopath, but also because of the name of the track and the litany list of cars you get a chance to use to race upon it. And the only tip of advice I have for you race fans out there, make sure you watch out who takes the opposite way during this set track, because if you don't and they come and hit you head on, it will cost you during this set race. So brother, look out, is the only bit of advice I have for you race fans out there for this set track, and good luck, because you're gonna need it. Oh, and also watch out for oncoming cars. Thank you for the advice, Carl, and my show. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Psycom with their said track of the R-Rally Snowy Mountain. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this track for this month, folks, not only because it reminds me of those classic MotorStorm games I used to play back in the day, but it also reminds me of one of those uphill climbs you would see them have during one of those Winter X Game events. And Colin and Michael said he doesn't remember that one, but trust me, it was there. It was there. And the only tip of advice I have for you race fans out there for this set track, please, for the love of God, during the hairpin turns during this track of 19, 22, and I do believe of checkpoint 44 and possibly checkpoint 10, watch out for those hairpin turns, because if you don't, you might go slipping and sliding off this mountain. And for those out there who are crazy enough to try to go for one of those said cycles for this, yeah, good luck. And be careful on the hairpin turns as well, too, and be prepared to have your thumb going through a little bit of an exercise, because it is. And the last but not least track that we have up for this month that made it in for the finalists for the Indy Awards, or at least contingency, comes from none other than J Radio with their said track of Zaytig 14 Crash Site. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this track, folks, Not only because of the litany list of cars that was featured during it, but also because of the sheer insanity that you get a chance to experience from coast to coast during this said race. And the only tip of advice we have for you race fans out there is to make sure you pick a car that can handle all of the crazy jumps that you will be featured in during this said race. And for you motorcycle fans out there, definitely make sure you pick a car that can actually land on its wheels and not get hit by certain wind turbines that you may or may not experience during this said race. In other words, all I'm trying to tell you guys and gals out there for this track, make sure you land on your wheels evenly, and hopefully you get the checkered flag for it. We hope. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out these great tracks, plus other tracks that were featured during this monthly list of tracks we were able to like for this month, then you can go ahead and head on over to the socialclub.rockstargames page, only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com, and just look up the playlist entitled Jump Final to check it out for yourself. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for a very special Friday Night Delight edition of the GTA Online Top 7 Tracks of the Month. And I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back into that music, and according to Carl and the Maestro, when we return, we'll be back with the nominees for the Track of the Year right after this. So don't try to race through that rush hour traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. All right, all you graveyard shift racers, listeners of the madness, and anybody who's racing through traffic in prime time hours, welcome back to Music Village. And ladies and gentlemen at home, this has been a long-winded journey that we've been through over the past full calendar year in the world of tracks. And to finally see who's gonna be the 12 finalists to duke it out at the Indy Awards in less than 3 weeks' time, I think it's time for us to waste no time and finally find out who will be the 12 to possibly 14 nominees that will be listed for this year's GTA Online Track of the Year. You know, and the award goes to. So, nominees, if you will. And the first nominee we have up representing the 28 Days of Greatness goes to Kamaji with their said track of CMJ Stunt Race 3.5. Representing the month of madness, Kamaji once again with his said track of CMJ Stunt Race 6.0. Representing the month of the Maycation, or the month of the arcade as we call it, or May for those who don't know, none other than True Motor Racer with their said track of the TMR Long Haul. Representing the month of Extreme for the Indy Awards, IG Stunner with their said track of 23 Mile Stunt Race. Representing the month of Independence, none other than SKPD23 with their said track of the Duck Dodge Drive. Nice name for the track. Representing the summer of RPG, a two-way tie that we hope to see brought to an end within the next 2 weeks, none other than Tremarty68 with his said track of the T68 OHND Long Haul, and Vax4223 with their said track of the Straight Road. Representing the month of sports, J. Roddy O with their said track of the Cross the Sky. Representing the month of horror for the Indie Awards, none other than the Death's Wall Donutters track by the Purple Sage. Representing the month of instant classicness, none other than Weed Amsterdam with their said track of At the Harbor Fast Track. Representing the ice-cold hard rock month of AC December, the Green Anaconda with their said track, or Vlad Racers with their said track of the Green Anaconda, thank you for the correction, and also representing alongside with them in a little bit of a tie, none other than JDMP Prodigy with their said track of the Highway Circuit. And the representatives picked as of tonight to represent the year of the fist for this year, heading to the Indie Awards, none other than once again Kamachi with their said track of CMJ Random Stunt Race, which with him being nominated in 3 separate months automatically qualifies him for a nominee for the Creator of the Year award as well. And over the next couple of weeks, we hope to have other nominees listed for the Creator of the Year. But until then, these are your 12 to 14 nominee mentions for the Indie Awards for the Track of the Year. And the finalists will be picked, hopefully before the Indie Awards, as of February 21st or the 22nd of 2025. So join us to find out who's gonna go home with that golden flag. Golden checkered flag at that. So good luck to all the people there, and we can't wait to see who's gonna come out on top with the best track of the year. And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to that music once again. And when we return, we'll be back with the final segment for Music Village for this week and for this month, right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, seeing the fact that the even flow of traffic is really starting to crowd and we've got to get out of here before it gets any worse, we might as well bring Music Village for this week to an emphatic close. But don't worry, if you miss any of this afternoon or evening delight we were able to give you for this week, we got you covered, because you can catch this show again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, or even Tumblr page is still all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio under the hashtag MusicVillage552. And apparently, according to Colin the Maestro, that's how many times he had to remind us that the Indie Awards this year will be taking place as of February 22nd and the 23rd, not the 21st. That's Music Village. Oh, thank you for the reminder once again. And if you guys want to figure out what the crazy and zany things we also got planned for this month of greatness that's going to be upon us in the next 24 hours, most likely like a reminder Colin the Maestro's going to have to put on the calendar to remind me for, then you can go ahead and head on over to our YouTube, Discord, and Twitter pages, still all named the same, only known as the Double Agent 0012. Before we head out for the night, we would like to thank, as always, you the fans out there for listening in to a very special jam-packed Hawaiian Punch month-ending edition of Music Village. And if you guys and gals out there like what you heard, go out there and spread the word. You know what? Like Harvey Keitel's character featured during the show Life on Mars, after somebody asked him what year is it? Yeah, you know the PR department knows where I'm going with this one, and it's giving me the thumbs up. Yeah, and I usually end this month off with this line too. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for doing that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys, and here's hoping your song gets featured during a cool action fighting scene in the near future. And why? Because we believe in you guys. That's why. That's why. That, and it'll probably set the mood for the fight, too. You know it will. And speaking of people's music that was able to set the mood for either a fight or a good time, we would like to thank our musical guest for this week, none other than Valentien Sosinisky with his said song of the E major blues that was featured during the intro. None other than those men with their said song of Turn the Telescope that was featured during the show as well too. And of course to none other than Tekno AXE with their said song of Teens Talk Sick Man with their said song that was featured during the said Beat 'em Up Looney Tunes collaboration edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And according to Carl and the Maestro, we may have gotten hit in the head with a mallet and almost forgot the name of the song, but it was all bunched up on the top. So, hey, it happens. And finally, we would also like to thank none other than Carl and the Maestro with their said song of the Blue Collar Jam session that was featured during this week's outro as we speak for this week's edition of Music Village. And like always, keep up the great work, guys, and we can't wait to hear what you got coming out of tubes next. And finally, last but not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for coming out with all those sweet, sweet video game hits, clips, and tracks that we had a chance to mention during this week's show from out of left field. And like always, guys, keep them coming, because the month of greatness is right around the corner, and we need your great games and tracks to represent it. And you never know what show might come around the corner next, so hint, 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 hint. And I guess with everybody thanked, you guys out there, we go out. I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of Carl and the Maestro, and for the year of the fist for this year, saying it's 2025, or as our Chinese brethren would like to call around here, the year of the fist. So if you ever wonder where I got that line from that show representing this month. But most importantly, when there's smoke, there's fire. And until next time, we'll see you again for another very special lucky number 7 of Greatness edition of Music Village. But until then, good night, everybody.